And hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Actuality. My name is Grant Ellis, and I am the host of 4 different Invisible Sun narratives, of which this is one, A Star-Crossed Rose in the Garden of Midnight. Last week, we introduced our characters in our world and did a collaborative world-building setting. I'm going to adjust the overlay so Elle doesn't have their eyes blocked by their character's name. Colin's already smoking the pipe. Farrington's already smoking the pipe. And for those of you new to the wonder that is Colin Valknet, pay very attention to the voice of this character because I'm curious to see what he comes up with. So we'll go around. I'm blurry. There I am.
Oh, The Actuality.
Whoa. I phased out. Let's go around and everyone introduce who they are. We will start with the host of the channel, one of the nicest guys I know in the industry, and someone I've learned from, Mr. Eric Vulgaris.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Grant. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric. Yeah, as Grant eloquently put it, I'm Eric Vulgaris everywhere. Role-playing game streamer, as well as analyst for Roll20. I am playing Kasura. Kasura is an empathic achiever of the Order of Makers, who revels in beauty. Very excited to see what happens.
Beneath Eric on the overlay is my good friend Josh, pro restarter in many circles, returning this week as Fantacleon. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little better than I did. No, that was
that'd be tough. You are the master of intros, but no, yeah, I am pro restarter, as it was says. I play Fantacleon Visizore. They are a bizarre empath of the Order of Weavers who warps time and space. So good to be here. And their pronouns are they, them.
And beneath pro restarter is one of the most enthusiastic and high energy Captain Positive, Burlingsbeard Kinbreeze. Ken, great to have you back.
Oh, thanks for having me, Grant. Thanks for having me, Eric. Oh, I'm so excited that we get to game today together. This is going to be so amazing. I hope you all were able to tune in to our last one where we sort of built the character bonds. There's some really fun stuff baked in. I'm Ken Burlingsbeard. I'm a concierge for Hire DM in the New York City area. I also have a great podcast called Board Ghost where I play DM-less and diceless role-playing games. But today I'm playing Narla, who is apostate gallant. Narla, they are an iconoclast and sort of have not been able to leave the war behind. They seem to still be sort of lost in that sort of past, as it were, for the Vizsla. So very excited to see what sort of trouble we get into in the neighborhoods today.
Speaking of neighborhoods, yesterday was the 51st anniversary of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Important because Fred was one of the biggest influences on me in my life. And to the left of Ken is the incredible Elle, back for more Invisible Sun as Unrusting Fire returns. Hello.
Yes, hi, I'm Elle. You can find me on Twitter at OccasionalElle. I use these pronouns, and I am playing the Flames and Rusting Fire who creates all things, which you again reduce to nothing. He uses V, this pronouns. V is an itinerant gallant of the Order of Fragments.
And I need to put on the glasses after getting burned by those unresting flames. Which leaves one half of the Phantom Roll Booth, one of my favorite game masters to play under. I've played under him and Zimbarum, and he totally ran the Wuxia Cypher System one-shot for me when I was unavailable for charity. Mr. Colin. Colin, how are you?
I'm well. I'm really, really, really excited to play Invisible Sun. Like, I love the world building we did, but like now we get to get elbow deep in the world we just made, and that's like my favorite thing. I am playing Farrington the Barthesian, an eremitic stoic of the Order of the Vance who walks the path of the suns. They are a bit of an intellectual recluse, an inveterate academic, and not super social, but like they're trying. I am he, him pronouns, but Farrington is they, them.
And we're going to begin this session by reading some prose that I read before the show My Neon Life Amongst the Casually Unreal, to sort of set the stage for this session, and then we will begin our narrative. So here's the prose. I see an angel with words for wings. He's standing on the corner, blank-faced, with a beggar's bowl, seeking emotions from passerby. I give him what I can spare. The words that make up his wings are mostly obscured, unspeakable, or in languages unknown to me, but I make out a few. Lost, alone, left behind. It's just as the plaque above the doors to the silent church reads, "She is gone, but her legacy remains." I make my way back home to Fartown, where all the dangerous spells live. Fartown is where our characters live. They are Vizsla. They are practitioners of magic. Each of them belongs to a different order or non-order, in the case of Narla, the apostate. And this is a game of surreal fantasy where the magic is truly magical. And our narrative begins, it is in fact fall. It is early November, and the air is crisp and fresh. each of the characters has received a letter. The letter was wrapped in an envelope made of rose stems and tangled thorns, carefully tied together, interlocking each stem and each thorn as to not damage the letter inside. When it was unraveled, a single rose was presented to each individual character, and a petal fell from the rose, and with each petal a word was spoken, and it said, "Chanson Delacroix knows what you need, and what you need are friends. Meet them in the Garden of Midnight." And our characters have gathered together at... go ahead and describe the type of place that you would meet to discuss matters great and small. Is it a restaurant, a cafe, one of your houses? Go ahead and describe it. Yes,
May I chime in?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to humbly suggest that we meet at the ice cream place.
Yes.
Emotional Flavors.
Yes.
The
That
ice cream
sounds about
parlor
right.
of Wonderment, I believe is what it's called.
And
Well, yeah. Do they have like a back room that we can rent out, basically, that we can have some privacy in, like have an ice cream party, as it were?
oh, a party
And
room.
It's like where they have birthday parties or whatever, or different events.
They have it.
We
Also,
rent it out for our secret meetings.
just before you meet, we are going to play a Soothe card. Each session of Invisible Sun begins with the playing of a card from the Soothe deck that will impact magic within the game. So let's bring up this Soothe deck, and I'm going to play a card.
Did we ever talk about where the parlor is? Because I'm pretty sure it like overlooks a park. It has that very like old rustic gas lamp, like district, like style, like old parlor, ice cream, rustic, turn of the century, kind of look. Probably has a, I don't know. That's just in my head. Maybe.
I think he said the part overlooks the playground of Lost.
Oh, yeah, it's a playground. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's even better.
So I have played the Nemesis card. Now, each of you have a heart. Are any of your hearts connected with secrets, ravens, books, or flame? All right. So Unresting Fire, you are currently going to be -2 on all of your actions. Everyone else in the party, when you're attempting an action, will be at -1. The reason for this is the Nemesis card, which I have just played on the Path of Suns, which our audience can see, is a card that contains special power that influences the way magical properties work in this world. Now, Soothe cards get played all the time in the game. Whether we travel to a different location, a significant event happens, a player takes a wound, and often they overpower each other, unless one is placed on the Invisible Sun, which you can see over here on my screen. So we will go back into the game. And just to note that when you're attempting actions, currently magic is influencing the world in a very negative way to our players right now. It's easy to counteract a -1 deficit, though. So what is your character's moods toward receiving this mysterious rose stem wrapped letter? You can begin the discussion essentially in free play together, discussing as you would in character.
I think Farrington was having just one of those mornings, and this letter was the icing on a cake that they don't want to eat. They woke up and they had run out of coffee. They went out to get more and were accosted by Lady Obscure. By the time they got back, they'd left the front door unlocked. And then they made themselves coffee, were nearly late to to one of their appointments because of the letter, and now they're arriving at the ice cream parlor in a cold fury.
As you come through, one of the bears, this polar bear-headed individual who has the chest of a man but the hips of a donkey today, kind of looks at you and goes, "Arr!" which means "don't ask." Scoops you up what looks like a scoop of rum raisin that smiles at you and hands it over to you. To eat.
Farrington accepts that, but is not going to smile, nor are they going to like eat it in front of them.
He motions and looks horribly offended that you won't eat it.
Narla's on the other side of it, very happy to receive the letter. In fact, eager, like finally, the allies that I seek will be found. Finally, the goals I'm trying to accomplish will have others trying to accomplish them as well. And so Narla lives in a part of town that's sort of oddly abandoned, especially because there are all these like rude weeds that grow out of the ground there that are just like trip people and are just like not that kind. There is one big draw to her neighborhood, or their neighborhood as it were. Narla's neighborhood sort of has this large crystalline formation called the magnesium opus that many tourists come to see, though they vandalize it often and like take chunks out of it and stuff like that. So there's this whole like sort of brouhaha in the neighborhood about sort of trying to preserve it or whatever. Narla lives in like this abandoned warehouse, or at least that's what everyone thinks. That's because that's where Narla's body lives, because Narla is just a head who like walks around on their like squid tentacle beard. And so Narla lives in like a bent water tower secretly on top of the warehouse. And so getting this letter in the secret like layer, as it were, originally really freaked Narla out. But now they're super, super anxious to like find these allies. And so Narla scurries in to the ice cream shop, cha-ching, cha-ching, as like the door opens and the bell rings. And Narla is just like this squid head on the ground, not leaving any sort of like ichor or trail, but definitely like suction cups are definitely happening on like this linoleum floor.
Yeah.
As they're sort of moving up, and they like sort of suction cup up the counter to like present themselves in front of this.
Yeah, there's that, but a little like
The bear points the glass and says, "No touching the glass."
there's this little softball-sized head man with a bushy beard. It's a fiery red color, and his eyes seem his pupils are shaped as a club and a three, a black three. He's the three of clubs, and he sees you come in and comes, Narla, it's so great to see you. It's been a while. You never swing by. We got just the thing to you. Now his body is completely 100% polar bear, but he's just got this little softball-sized head. Let me get you what you need today.
I control my feelings normally. I don't need your services, but damned if I don't love the taste.
Yeah. I'm thinking what you need today was a little bit of a feeling of surprise. Here, and he pulls out, and there's this kind of a lemon meringue with melted icing all over it, and the icing kind of has this very sweet, gentle, almost southern United States comfort food taste to it that he's drizzled on there, and he's just like, you need a surprise today. You weren't expecting this.
Like ranch?
Not ranch, no, but more like a whipped cream that's been made by a great grandmother, and she passed on the recipe by word, and then your mother wrote it down on an index card, and then your sister wrote it down on a Google Doc. That your great grandchildren communicate the recipe through telepathy. It's come full circle.
I pick the plate up with the sort of ice cream lemon meringue on it with two tentacles, and like suction my way off of the counter, like towards a place to meet Farrington, I guess, who I sort of see going into the private area.
What about Kisura Unresting Fire, who also received a letter and is visiting, and Fentacleon? Let's
Yeah, I think as those two are kind of walking back to the private area, Fentacleon, there's kind of like, I think there's like maybe like a veil where the secret area is, and they just kind of like pop out with like an ice cream cone, and they were very excited but inquisitive this is very interesting. It's very out of the norm. So they are very interested in what it's all about. And they kind of pop out with this kind of like lackluster ice cream cone. And it's like, oh, it's you. Just give me 1 second. I just need to order some extra. And they go over to like the counter and they say to one of the bears, yeah, yes, can I get one of those hard sprinkles with my despair? Yes, the conviction sprinkles. Yes, please. Thank you.
There you go. You know, you don't order. We serve you what you need. And we got the sprinkles for you, and these beautiful glass sprinkles kind of drip from their fingers and then form little butterflies that land on the cone. And they kind of give you a knowing nod.
So good. I love it.
These are fear sprinkles. You need to be afraid.
Ooh. Ooh. Shocking. I like it.
That was one of the most Tim Curry shockings I've ever heard.
And unresting fire.
I is intrigued by this. We immediately, once we got the letter, copied out the words exactly, and then took a scalpel and cut off a little bit of the paper and a little bit of the rose stems, and just saved those.
Now, to know, it wasn't a message written on paper. There was a rose inside, and as each petal fell, the air would whisper the message, and it kind of dissipated. But the message is burned within your mind. However, there is no written evidence.
All right, now we'll copy it down. So now there is written evidence. It just doesn't have context. And V comes into the ice cream parlor and is like intrigued and interested in what's going to be going on.
And Kisura?
Yes. So Kisura's already I think Kisura's been here around the same time as Farrington, hanging out, because Farrington doesn't have a lot of friends. And so, I'm hanging out with them right now. And I also look very excited. And in my anticipation, in my nervousness, I have not ordered my own ice cream, but I did grab an extra spoon. And I just, look at it without asking Farrington whether they're excited. Like, hey, so are you excited? As I go in and just take a scoop of their own ice cream.
Excited for what?
What does your flavor taste like?
I haven't tried it yet. What does it taste like? I think it's rum something.
Doesn't really taste like anything to me.
Well, it's rum raisin, and but the emotion inside that one is one of deep sadness.
Yeah. It doesn't taste like it. I don't think I can. They must use something that I can't taste, because I have another bite of your emotional sadness. It's like, it just doesn't taste like anything to me.
Farrington is going to sigh, put down his notebook, pick up their spoon, and take a little taste. It tastes like most days.
I thought it would be sunnier than that.
Rarely.
As Narla comes into the room and sees the two of you eating the ice cream, they're very surprised to see Kisura. And sort of dropping the plate with the lemon meringue ice cream, they sit on it and start wallowing in this surprise ice cream, as they are very surprised to see Kisura, saying, "You're here?"
I think we say that at the same time. Yeah. We both you're here, yeah. They literally mirror each other, and we both do mirrored stance too.
Yeah, totally. My tentacles stanced out.
Weird.
Truly intriguing.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a problem, is it?
No.
No.
I mean, it's not going to be one, right?
It only portends problems.
Now, I have reposted the message that each of you received from your rose-wrapped letter. Chanson Delacroix knows what you need, and what you need are friends. Meet them in the Garden of Midnight. So if you ever need to reference that information, I've placed it in the Zoom chat for you.
Right. What do I know about Delacroix? I intentionally mispronounce it.
You do not, but Unresting Fire knows a little bit about them.
Cool. I tried to find something out about them, and wasn't able to get anything. But I'm always up to meeting new people, especially when they write such great letters. And I take another bite of Farrington's ice cream, to the point where I've eaten a bit of it, and you're like, really get your own,
No,
I need that quantity.
I'm just very subtly pushing it over towards you, so it's in front of you.
Yeah, you're trying to get it to me. Yeah. For some reason, the taste of sadness doesn't really do much for me right now.
I'm incredibly surprised that this LaCroix character is not already here.
Yeah.
And I burst.
Now Farrington would also know a little bit. Both Farrington and Unresting Fire are Vances, but they both know for different reasons. Unresting Fire actually lives much closer to where Chanson Delacroix works. It's a different side of town. Farrington knows them by reputation because the Vance often order collections from their place of occupation. Why doesn't Unresting Fire go ahead and make an intellect roll? And let me know if you have any skills and what they are, because they might be applicable to this type of role. This is a roll to recall details about Chanson Delacroix through your interactions.
Let's see. I have 1 level skill with anything having to do with understanding or identifying formalized codified magical practices. I have disguise, lockpicking, and mental fortitude.
Okay. So we're actually going to... when you make your intellect roll, which is a D10, 0 through 9, 9 being higher, you will get 1 additional point of information based off of your skill. So this is no set difficulty numbers, just the more you roll, the more information you'll be able to recall.
Okay. Does my my -2 penalty apply here?
Yes. The Nemesis card.
Okay,
Thank you for reminding me.
I'll spend a point of intellect.
So for those of you at home, Z has a pool, and Z plays a point from the pool, which reduces the difficulty of the task by 1 step.
Okay, so I rolled a 5.
Okay. This is what you know. Chanson Delacroix works at a library that is a sister cathedral to the Legacy that's shaped like a giant metal icosahedron, like a 20-sided die almost, that is constantly changing colors, I believe. And Chanson Delacroix is feline in appearance, though is often masked. Chanson has 2 associates who do most of the work, as far as you can tell. They look almost as if they could be cousins. There's something very familiar about them, but also opposites. And this collection of the Burning Principality is on the far side of town. It is a library that Chanson is the curator of and the head librarian.
And this is what Unresting Fire knows?
I had hoped he'd be here tonight.
Farrington knows that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I have suspected that they're not related. They may be modalities of one another, but I've never had the opportunity to speak at length with Chanson. And I hope I get the chance.
And
I just love the way you speak.
A note. Yeah.
Is that just a fancy way of saying that you've never met this person?
Well, well, let me explain this too. Mechanically in the game, your characters have no idea what a modality is until you encounter one. They explain that in the books too. They go, a Vizsla will not know what a modality is until they encounter one. This means Farrington has encountered one, possibly through the law. And it'll just kind of be like, what's this nonsense he's talking about? And we'll get into what a modality is later throughout the campaign, but this does kind of provoke an idea, evoke an idea in your characters' minds where there might be more to the actuality that you haven't learned yet since you've returned from Shadow.
Ooh. My bad.
Well,
No, it's fine.
I mean, he gathered us all here for a reason, it seems, or they gathered us all here.
You gathered yourself at the ice cream shop to talk about receiving the letters.
Yes,
Chanson
I
would
was
probably be
hoping
at the
that we might leverage our collective experiences, and he's going to Farrington's like not specifically not looking at Narla, and rigorous research and such to unpack this particular mystery. I've worked with Unresting Fire before on a problem of my own, and I think that we are all in some way well equipped to figure out where the Garden of Midnight is.
Oh, this sounds like a caper, a mystery. Oh, I like it. Just the tangs, ooh, the feelings, ooh, it excites me. I'm quite afraid. That's just the ice cream.
I am continually surprised that we will partner in such a thing. This will be dangerous. Do not mistake what we are about to embark on.
I try to make it a professional habit not to be mistaken, but I take your point well.
What's it like just being ahead?
It is wonderful.
Oh,
So
do
many,
tell.
so many things I don't have to worry about.
Oh,
Does it
We'll have
help
to
you get ahead in life?
I audibly snort. Or short, I guess.
Well, it's gotten me to this point at least.
you're ahead of the game.
I'm taking
This
them-
is no game, Fantaclian.
Well,
It is all about our neighborhoods and what's happening in them. This is all about the entropy that's continuing to spread.
A pair of mauve colored panthers wearing business suits walk in. One is smoking a cigar. The second is wearing a pair of little tiny glasses, spectacles. They come in and they do not take their eyes off Fantaclian.
Are you smoking in the parlor?
You got a problem with that? It
Yeah,
says it
yeah,
looks at you. Yeah.
There's clearly a no
You're in
smoking
the back.
sign.
One takes it, pulls it off, and the polar bears kind of step back. You know, they're nervous that these two panthers have come in.
Yeah, and now I'm also nervous, realizing that I have also overstepped into something.
Yes, and you guys are in the back. You're partitioned, but you notice they're looking right through the drapes. They're looking right at Fantaclian. Right through
can I
the
help
drapes.
you?
I hide.
He just
Change
on the ceiling.
color.
He's a chandelier. Narla's already a legend, and the game's just began. So I'm going to play a soothe card as a result of this. So cut back, which is going to supersede the other card. So the card that I have played is the invisible card, enveloping darkness. Let me look a little bit about what the invisible card does.
Seems like it would be powerful.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. That means it is impacted by the invisible sun. So I believe...
That's
I'm
bad.
going to have to look up exactly, but it completely replaces... I'll find out exactly what the positive benefit is, but it replaces... the last effect, and I'll get that for you should we make any rolls. It may
So
be the cost.
Panther walks in, Nemesis leaves us, and
Yeah.
Invisible descends upon us.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Help you find suited individual.
They say, we have a couple questions for you. There's word that you were a witness to traffic accident several days ago.
Oh, yes, the Marmalon incident. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I only saw it a brief moment, though. I heard talk of it. Marmalon, they said. Interesting.
What was distracting you from the accident?
Well, I was with a keen friend, and we wanted to get back to our tea drinking.
What is the name of
hues
this
that
friend?
place. Oh, well. Her name is Babby.
Mm-hmm. They like to wear makeup?
Farrington is
I
going to
suppose.
like slip out and like come up behind Fentacular and like put a hand on their shoulder and lean forward and go, "You're asking quite a few questions without invoking any kind of authority to ask them in the first place. May I ask why and who
Well,
you are to ask?"
we have authority given to us by the Garant. We are constables in this part of town. So the Garant is kind of like, it's almost more like an organized crime boss, and they run the neighborhoods. There's many of them. They constantly fight over territory. These two Panthers are emissaries of what would be kind of like the local community leader. And they've been seeking out Fantacleon, and now they have encountered them.
So, just for this conversation, I have a skill, the empath, understanding people's motives. So, what are they trying to get out of this? What's their motive for talking to me and asking these questions?
Information. They are trying to get information out of you specifically that they might put a case together against Babel.
Against me. Okay.
Not
yeah,
against
that's
you.
what-
They're
Against her,
putting
yeah.
a case together against her.
Mhm.
You happen to be a witness. They're trying to flip you to help them and maybe possibly
Yeah.
be an ally to you.
Well, you know, there was one thing I did see. A strange individual. They ran away quite quickly. I believe we saw them grow multiple legs and run into an alleyway. And I described the person that you mentioned that we spoke to that said there was more to it than meets the eye, and then ran into an alleyway and like, grew multiple spider legs. I can't remember. Like, I think you wore like glasses. I think it's the picture that you have.
Yeah.
And I mentioned them. It seemed a shifty sort.
Is there any information you give us to where Babylon lives? Because we can find it through other means, but we'd prefer to get it through you.
Oh, well, I haven't been to that place in a long time, so I'm not sure if they moved or if they stayed there. I'm afraid
So
I'm
this-
so sorry.
This is going to be a type of deception roll. So
Can I try persuasion? Of skill and persuasion.
you can.
Thank you.
Narla will move over to hide near Unresting Fire.
I just love this little squid head scuttling around at our feet.
He's so afraid.
So what am I rolling, sir?
So you're going to roll a. You are going to roll a 10-sided die. The difficulty is 5, and so you'll need to get a 5 or higher. Now, if you're skilled in the persuasion, it'll go down to a step of 4. Likewise, you can spend sortilege to roll multiple dice, or you can spend a Benny point to reduce the difficulty from your pool.
And what are the
Interaction.
bennies? Sorry, I don't know.
So you've seen how you can have points in your pools, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the bennies are points in your pool that can be used to
Okay.
reduce things by steps.
Okay. So let's see. I will. So I have to roll higher than a 4. You
4 or higher,
Yeah. I'll just roll.
Okay.
I haven't spent anything right
and
now.
then let me know what you get.
7.
All right. So they're essentially convinced that you haven't been there for a very long time, and they say, "Did Babylon give you any other plans where they might be over the course of the next
Oh.
week?"
It's funny that you'd use that name. I only mentioned the name Babby. Well, I'm not certain, but do look into the mysterious fellow that fled the scene of the crime.
Yeah, and you notice they go, you only mentioned Babby, and they pull out like a little bauble. And every thought that's in your head is kind of like appearing in the bauble and rotating. Now, you're a good deceiver. It's kind of the George Costanza. It's not a lie if you yourself believe it. You're very good at stone facing. When you said Babby, they managed to get, kind of her face and her full name on it. But everything else they believe. They go, all right, we'll look into that.
These two.
Then they slip you a business card, and the card says Fish and Bird Investigators, and they get out of there. You obtain a point of despair, which can be used despair for the whole GM shift ordeal. But yeah, and just for the audience, despair points aren't bad. It's not like losing your sanity in a game like Call of Cthulhu. It is merely a way to a form of experience. As you experience joy and despair, you can combine these points to advance your character, and you keep track of the total that you have received over the course of the game.
I actually have 2 now because I got joy when we did the world building. So.
Ooh.
I say to unrestricted fire, I say, should we be worried about the Garant?
No, it's probably fine.
In your experience?
Yes.
All right. Because it's tough for me to trust them.
Who is it easy for you to trust, Nala?
Well, Kisora. Oddly.
Interesting.
Raise an eyebrow.
I raise a tentacle.
Shall we return to the matter at hand?
Yes, you should. Oh.
Finding this character, going and finding them?
Mm-hmm. And Unresting Fire would know how to get you to the library, the collection of the Burning Principality.
I think it bears saying, I am not convinced that Chanson sent these letters. The letters reference Chanson, but in reviewing what I heard when I opened the letter, they did not say from Chanson, signed Chanson, or anything like that. They direct us to Chanson.
Oh, it's like an advertisement.
Yeah. I looked to Farrington, and it's like, it reminds me of one of those poems when they use meet them in the garden. That is, rather than me, it indicates a third party. Like I'm just like kind of like doing that sort of brainstorming and thought process in motion.
Yes.
Would pick up the pieces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our allies will be in the garden. That's what it means, right?
I don't know, but I'm curious to see what Chanson has to say. Certainly, I don't think we have a different, better option at this point.
Well, what about trying to figure out the veracity or the origin of these letters? Isn't there some practitioner we might go to examine them? Or perhaps us here, one of us here can have some sort of skill or ability to understand them more deeply.
I'd be curious to know that.
Well, there's certainly lots of multiples of 7.
Kisura would be able to tell you that a maker put them together. Hard to tell exactly who, but they were clearly made by a maker.
I have a spell. I've not mantled it yet, but I am able to. I don't think it is precisely of utility in this situation. It is the vision of a nemesis, and I certainly don't know the disposition of whomever sent these letters to us, be they friend or foe. So I don't know if this spell would reveal the sender of the letter rather than simply a nemesis.
Either way, wouldn't we benefit from that knowledge?
It is going to be unpleasant for me, hence my reticence.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about that, do you, Nala?
More than you think. The fact that we all got letters proves to me that there's something special about this gathering.
Yes, and who are these friends this thing speaks of? That we'll meet them in the garden?
The allies that we'll need to defeat. Well,
It's presumptuous to believe that we're friends with them. We've never met them.
If all of you think it would be useful for me to cast the vision of the Nemesis, I shall do so. I will need some time to prepare and mantle the spell first, however.
it could very well be that this is a hoax. Perhaps we should visit the library first with unrestricted flame before, excuse me, unrestricted fire before putting yourself through that.
I would appreciate that.
Yes, I think that we should do some background research first.
Tell us more. What do you think? What would you suggest?
I think we should go to the collection of the Burning Principality.
I will always agree to go to a library.
Oh, joy.
Oh, joy.
Lots of dust.
Yes, I see its value.
So, with that, does the party agree to head to the collection of the Burning Principality?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you arrive, there is a light rain that's beginning. There's a good chance that it could be a key fall. It's hard to tell. So keep your eye out for sparks. You come to a massive, beautiful, ornate cathedral-esque building. As the rain bounces off of it, it sort of leaves a silver shimmer amongst it. And as you approach closer, there are 3 ravens sitting on a gate in front of the library, eyeballing everyone who approaches, and there is a gardener who has inverted hands who's attempting to quickly finish their labor for the day before closing shop. What do you do?
What kind of labor is the gardener doing?
Weed pulling.
If it's okay.
And the weeds are giving him sass. Yeah. It's spreading.
Oh yeah. Look, I tell the group, how about you all go on ahead? I'm gonna go help the gardener. I'm not gonna be good in the library.
If you think that's the best use of your time, Kasura.
Couldn't even finish going to the library with us.
I have a plan. Yeah.
I say maybe she very much wants to get into hedge trimming. Perhaps hedge sculpting is her next passion.
Getting a hedge?
There you go.
So, when you traveled to the library, I played a sooth card.
Jokes.
The Monarch, and the Monarch card is what is called a Sovereign card. So, as a Sovereign card, everyone gets +1 to all their actions, and if you your heart is tied to the notions, cats, clocks, or wind, you are going to get +2 to all of your actions. So that has been played on the Path of Suns. Anytime you travel to a new location, it comes up.
How many ravens were there again, Grant?
3.
3.
And
I am very wary of them, but I am keeping a sort of an eye on them.
Yeah, and they're keeping an eye on you, and they go, 2. 2. They kind of put their eyes to Fentaclion. 3. Back to you. 2. 3.
It's just what they do. Don't worry.
Farrington, 5, 5, 5, and they all just start 5, 5, 5, 5. This murder of ravens. That is just what they do, as Unresting Fire knows.
Yeah. This is why I don't like leaving my tower. Let's head to the library. I think I'm going to feel much better in there. And Farrington's, they're going to head into the library.
All right. So, the library.
Follows.
Does anyone stay outside? Does Kassura stay and help the gardener?
Yes, I would love to talk to them and help the gardener with their problems right now.
Okay. We're going to cut to your scene with the gardener before we go inside immediately. So, are you simply helping weed pulling? Are you striking up a conversation?
Oh, I would start with a conversation, being like, I really like the garden here, and it looks like you're trying to wrap up. Perhaps I could help you out.
Well,
I have a nice smile on my face, like, I don't have to help you. I'm trying to just be polite. You look nice.
Are you with the Historical Society?
No, I lie and I say, no, I'm actually with my friends over there, but I love gardens, and I just thought it'd be nice. I try to dodge the
friends with the Historical Society.
Well, they're all right, I guess.
All right. Well, I appreciate the help. You take that side over there. Just listen for any that are giving guff, and then pull them. Burn them if you can. It's a little hard in the rain. A key lands right in front of you. It's a long silver key. Not wicked, but it definitely opens a door.
I totally pocket it.
Yeah, he goes, but definitely listen for the ones that give guff and then pull them. The church doesn't need sass in its gardens. Now,
no one needs sass in their gardens. What was your name?
My name is Guillaume.
Guillaume, nice to meet you. Kassura. I gotta shake their hand.
Just a dirt-covered hand that smells like freshly made saltwater taffy. Just kind of I'm a Virginia Beach boy. It's where we invented it. Just kind of big meaty paw. And he goes, all right. Good working with you. So we cut inside. The library is exceptionally well kept. There is flickering light. The sconces seem to be animated. They've, if you could imagine Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast, but instead of being suave with a lot of panache, they look more like sour, tired accountants during tax season. And they're just kind of, flickering about. Now, rather dangerous keeping fire in a library. There is a woman with beautiful, fiery, butterscotch-colored hair. And her eyes glow a blazing red. And there is she is currently walking up and down the aisles. It appears to be examining various items that belong to the collection. Likewise, there is a second sister who has short, dark, midnight blue hair in just very, very unblemished silver skin. You would say they were sisters by their facial structure and roughly very similar build, but they appear to kind of be a yin and yang as far as the aesthetic goes. What do you do?
I'm going to make a sort of subtle motion for someone else to talk to the fiery one, and I'm going to talk to the silver-skinned one. And I'm going to approach them and say,
okay.
I am Farrington the Barthesian, and I am looking for Chanson Delacroix.
He's up there. He hasn't come down all day, and she points to the top of a shelf. And you can see what looks like 16 cat legs with a trench coat wrapped around it, and there's a little cat head with a top hat sticking out the top. They're eyeballing down at you.
Because Farrington doesn't blink, just going to maintain eye contact with the cat, still speaking to the silver-skinned woman, and say, "Do you have the function of a librarian here? If I asked you to search the stacks for me, would you be able to do so?"
Well, I could direct you to search the stacks yourself and give you the general direction. But if it's not where I say it is, I could certainly help you locate it. I assume your eyes work, as do your hands and other appendages on you. Do Barthesians typically ask other hard-working people to do everything for them?
Yes, the division of labor is an efficient way to get things done. I'm going to talk to Chanson now. Thank you.
All right. Good luck, she says, and yeah, go ahead.
Narla climbs up to Fantacleon and sort of motions towards the cat in the trench coat with the 16 legs, saying excitedly, "Is that what you saw? Is that what you saw escaping into the alleyway?"
No. That would be interesting.
Small little cat head bursts out like halfway through the trench coat, and then another leg tries to push it back in. It's 4 cats dressed up as a peoples.
It's my favorite thing.
It's Chanson Delacroix.
Just shoving things in a trench coat to look like a person is my favorite thing.
That explains a lot.
After Fantacleon says no, I decide to get a look from above, and I'm going to climb up on top of one of the bookshelves.
Yeah, you hear, as you climb up, and Chanson speaks out and kind of, this, best way I could describe it is Liam Neeson meets Pee Wee Herman, because those are the 2 voices in my repertoire. What brings you to the collection of the Burning Principality? Sorry.
Who is this being directed at?
You, as you've climbed up.
Oh, me?
Yeah, he's curious at you.
I say, come seeking a person, a personality, a mind that will perhaps be a key to open a door, to find the path.
As well, what is the name of this individual? There are but 3 that work here. Belladonna, Sorsha, and myself.
Looking at the cat head, and then noticing like there are lots of cats inside this.
There's at least 4. Yeah,
around.
4 in a 3-piece. 4 in a 3-piece suit
only
with a
one
trench
cat
coat.
head is talking at me right now, right?
Well, you hear a voice being projected. Yes, its mouth is not moving.
The cat head is not talking. I just hear a voice coming from the trench coat full of cats. Is that
I
right?
will say this: the cat head is communicating to you telepathically.
Telepathically, thank you. All right, fair enough. Okay, it's the
Got to be quiet. It's a library.
Yeah, of course. I have to quiet as cats. I have to be so quiet. I say my companions, as I sort of whirl one of my tentacles towards those others that are inside the library, and I have sought you out, Chanson.
Well, I'm curious how I can be of use to you. Question for those down below: does either Unresting Fire or Fantacleon speak to the fiery-haired woman?
I'll talk to her.
All right. After we finish this conversation, we'll cut down to you speaking to Sorsha Thorn. All right. So back up at the top of the bookshelf.
Narla says, "We seek the Garden of Midnight."
The Garden of Midnight. Were you invited? Did you receive invitations? Or were you
Yeah.
sent to me to learn more about it and obtain access?
Yes.
Yes, we received roses.
Okay. Yeah,
Are those not invitations? It seems as if it was an invitation.
the cat starts to purr a bit.
Oh, sick.
And he starts climbing down.
I seem very freaked out by that, and I back up.
Yeah. And he starts climbing down the bookshelf, and immediately Sorsha and Belladonna grab brooms and start chasing him back to a desk, and they're like, "Hey, we don't want him going up there again. We don't want him going up there."
Tough to get him down.
Yeah, he kind of dips his little paw, in an ink pad, and then puts it on a sheet of paper. Does it a few more times. He goes, "You are now formally invited to the Garden of Midnight. I heard it's going to be held at the Confederate of Cloisters this year. But you cannot get in alone. You're going to need to bring a companion for the evening, and you all need to be dressed the part. Why exactly were you sent to the Garden of Midnight? Did they say exactly what you needed? Because different people go for different reasons."
Our reasons are our own.
All right, then
We
I will
do
give
not
you.
have a shared reason.
I will give you some general guidance then. It is a ball. You cannot wear a mask, and your attire will determine how you will be situated for that evening. Be very careful, though. Some of the folk who attend are a bit on the aggressive side. By that I mean they trek with demons. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just sometimes the demons can get out of hand. This year it will be hosted at a plaza in the Confederate of Cloisters near the Church of Midnight. Those of you, are any of you a Goetic?
I
No.
think that's the one we're missing. We've got everyone but.
Okay. This in fact, Narla knows this, being an apostate. Church of Midnight worships demons and dark powers. There is not a single one they worship. They worship all of them. It is a large religious order that every time it's been opposed, it has come up on top. But they're also known for doing excellent treatment of those who suffer from depression and deep emotional pains. And they actually provide the best medical treatment for it here in the actuality.
Do we know, do we suspect that these flesh takers we've heard about are some sort of offshoot maybe of this Church of Midnight?
You 100%.
Fanatical sort of
100%.
Offshoot.
It would not be that big of a stretch at all. And they would probably be suspect number 1 on the list.
Cool. Yeah, the flesh takers are definitely a group that Narla opposes, and probably a big main reason why they are seeking out allies.
Cut to Unresting Fire. You have struck up a conversation with a woman with fiery hair. Her eyes glow a brilliant red. And to describe the color of the flame, it's like that of melted butterscotch. And she's very graceful in her movements, and she seems both relieved and unnerved at the same time. The Chanson has finally come down from the shelves. He's been up there for a long time. They've been stressed.
Well, I'm glad that we could get Chanson down for you.
Thank you very much, Unresting Fire. She is familiar with you, since you have visited this neck of the woods before.
Has he been doing that a lot lately?
Past 2-3 days. He slept up there as well.
No, I've heard that if you put tinfoil on the tops of things that you don't want cats to get onto, they won't go up there.
Yeah, that's a shadow remedy. Here in the actuality, they bathe in tinfoil.
Well, then I'm I'm out of I'm out of ideas for you.
Quite. So, Narla, you're able to take what information you've obtained from Chanson. So there's a couple things he's relayed to you. That the Garden of Midnight is a ball, a maskless ball, where the attire that you wear is very important and will determine your social status for the evening. And in order to get in, you cannot go alone. You must bring a ballroom companion, a date, so to speak. Who you could find and where you could find them, the pressure is completely up to you. So there's a couple things. You will need outfits and you will need dancing companions. So I'll present that to the party and you guys can discuss if you want to pursue the Garden of Midnight, by all means. And if you want to continue having a scene with anyone else here, that's fine as well.
Yeah, I would like to speak with the fiery head person.
Sorsha Thorn? Yes.
Sorsha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I'm to that now, I hearing that and hearing about a day, Fantacleon, I will walk up to them and be like, "Oh, I adore your hair. The different hues as it's cascading in flames is divine. Tell me, what treatment do you have for it? Sorry, I'm a bit of an artist. Fantacleon."
She kind of lets out a shy giggle, then seems mortified that that sound came out of her. Her sister, Belladonna, snorts and has to cover her mouth and turn from the scene. At that, she's like, "Well, I use a variety of incantations, the same as anyone. 14 to be exact. Nightly."
That's amazing. You know, I'm actually in the market for a new model for a piece I'm doing. It's a timeless piece. I have something to do with that kind of thing anyway. But I want to capture the ever-flowing cascading of flames endlessly on a loop. I'd love to hear more of this.
She begins to wax philosophically about flames depicted in artwork, and she goes, and you know, the flickering is very unique and erratic. It's not a pulse. It's, a bit of a dance, full of life and movement, the kinetic energy. And begins describing the gradient of the color. And she goes, are there orbs involved, orbs being the currency, or is this a passion project?
Well, I would hate to take up your time and not reward you for it. Tell you what, actually, since you speak of movement, passion, dancing, the ever-flowing, I'm actually heading to a gala, and I could use a dancing partner.
You are so sly.
What am I supposed to wear?
I turn towards...
Librarians aren't paid very well.
Oh.
Will you take me shopping?
Of course. Gotta have something that that shows off that exuberant, vibrant hair of yours.
Your side scene's gonna be delicious. She accepts unequivocally. She's just sort of like, hey, yes, without hesitation. Almost seems like she wasn't charmed otherworldly. It almost seems like she doesn't get out much, and she lives in constant fear of burning the library down. She gives you her address where you can pick her up to bring her to the ball. And she also gives you the name of the usual shops that she normally buys her attire from. But she also gives you the name of a shop she's never been to before. There is... it's essentially called 13th Station's Gowns. So there is a train station in a neighborhood called Silver Hill that was never completed. No trains actually go there, but there's a giant sign that says 13th Station. If you go and walk through the wall down below, you can actually find a place that sells elaborate ball gowns.
Would I also become a wizard?
Wizard is a derogatory term in the setting.
Yeah,
a wizard, Fantacleon. Yeah, the wand chooses you.
I fixed a date to take her to the 13th station.
All right. She swoons silently and kind of shyly skitters away back to her duties. Farrington, what have you been up to while all this has gone down?
Well, Farrington is not one who enjoys socializing, and so the more Narla talked, the further Farrington drifted into the stacks of books to idly browse, more or less. This is one of the few kinds of social spaces that Farrington really enjoys, his libraries.
There is a wide variety of literature, but it was then that Belladonna Bloodgood sidles up behind you. You know, her icy lips, maybe 2 centimeters from your left ear. She goes, "Did you find what you were looking for?"
I'm looking for nothing in particular, and I have found it. And Farrington's going to slowly turn.
Your lips brush her lips. No, you're right there. She's right there.
Is there something you wish to help me with? Or are you just making sure I don't pilfer?
I would like to go to that ball.
I sincerely hope you find someone to take you.
I think I found him, she says. Them. I think I found them. And it fades to black for a second. Now, you can decide if you want to go with Belladonna or not. This you do know in the moment as your thoughts are exchanged. She's extremely jealous of her sister. Her sister gets a lot of attention because she's so fiery and vibrant. Belladonna has an outfit picked out already that she's always wanted to wear to one of these occasions, but she never gets asked. And she knows, based on some of the information that was relayed, and the fact that someone came to see Chanson and the Garden of Midnight was introduced, this is her chance to get out of the library. If she's invited as a date, Chanson will most likely give her leave. Most likely, it's not a sure thing, because he can't run the place alone. He is just a set of cats, after all.
Yeah, Farrington's going to make it clear that the person I'm looking for to go with me to this is either someone so very interesting that I actually enjoy myself, or someone who offers zero interest whatsoever and therefore does not trouble me while I am there. If you are someone who is obsessive about literature, the structural dissection thereof, you may be the first. But if you are not the first, you must absolutely be the second.
She places her hand behind your head and kisses you intensely, like you've never been kissed before, not since you were like a male escort back in the shadow. Because she couldn't resist the talk of the literature. She had to give an physical outward showing.
Farrington is like not gonna move the whole time.
I know.
Happening.
It's one of those things. She doesn't either, and it's like planted for 10 seconds.
And as soon as it breaks,
goes, yeah.
Farrington's gonna go, was that supposed to be an answer? Because if so, it was entirely uncommunicative.
It was a reaction to the books.
Very well. I've never done this before. Am I picking you up, or are you going to show up at my tower at the appointed time?
We should meet halfway.
I shall calculate that tonight and send you a message.
Good. And she leaves a Presidy, essentially a message tube that you can speak into, and she gives you the address of where you can access it. It's hidden in a wall, and you can crack open the brick, speak into it, and the message will come out on her end. You can also transport slips of paper, etc. And whoa! What's going on?
Screen sharing.
Who's screen sharing?
Sorry,
Aha! All right, it's okay.
Sorry, everybody.
Take that, Grant Ellis. All right, we're all good. And with that, Belladonna Bloodgood will go with you to the ball. Meanwhile, outside, Kisura, are you still gardening? Are you going to go check on your friends, or are you going to go inside?
I imagine we're like done gardening.
Yeah. You've wrapped up in the rain.
Yeah.
He explains, he goes, you might want to get inside before you catch a cold.
Yeah. Right. Well, thanks, Kriar. This was very nice of you. And, you know, and I tried to hold my hands and, like, you know, I love getting my hands dirty. This is great. Thank you so much.
You a musician?
Yeah. I like do like my little hair thing. Some petals fall out of my hair. What gave it away?
My mates and I, we've seen you perform sometime.
May I ask, what? Where? And I do a couple, and I do that awkward, like, / brag, like, I'm in a couple of projects, so I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm in, like, a couple experimental bands, and then I'm also doing a little bit of my own stuff, and, you know, it's like, so I'm just, like, so yeah, so where do you and your mates like to go?
It was the one with the bass guitarist. The Weaver.
Yeah.
I think the name of the band was Emotional Support Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, ESC's pretty good. It's one of my... and I kind of like do this a lot, like, it's not my favorite, but I like, I'm not going to, like, yuck their yum. So, like, I very just go, yeah, they're good, right? I like doing that. It's pretty good. Listen, you know what? I'll tell you what. Me and the bassist, we're gonna go next time we do a show. You know what? I'll give you a ring. Maybe I'll stop by here and let you know. Are you here often?
Yeah, most of the time, unless I'm given leave, which is almost never, because most of the other gardeners, they got run off by the constable's people. The Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just encountered, or I don't say that. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard bad things about them.
Yeah, there's someone's attempting to buy the main cathedral, and they figure a good starting point is to knock off this library.
That's wretched.
It's horrible.
Is the historical society doing anything about it?
We have suspicions that they may be in bed with the, who's behind it, and they kind of mouths the name Chamberman.
I feign, oh yeah, like I already knew it.
No.
Yeah.
Unresting Fire knows who that is. Fantaclian might know No, Fantaclian wasn't underground in the bird cave.
Right. Is the garden look prettier after we're done? Like
it sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot quieter. And it looks it almost looks like something's missing, like a little too much sass was removed. You as an artist realize this, but you know the simple gardener, despite this being his profession, he doesn't look at the garden with soft eyes. He only looks at them with hard eyes.
Okay. Right. But it's definitely something beautiful, right?
Oh, it's the most beautiful garden that you've seen all day.
Sure. Okay, that's all. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna take your advice about a cold, Yarm. Take care now, and say hi to your friends, and thank you so much for supporting Emotional Support, Eric. And I'm gonna go
little salute.
Inside. Yeah.
The awkward thing is he was wearing an Emotional Support Eric shirt the whole time.
Oh, but it was underneath the flannel. That's not fair.
I know, right? Cut to inside. Unresting Fire. The fiery-haired woman's back. She goes, "Did I get you everything you needed? Are you all done with Chanson?"
I'm done with Chanson, but I wanted to ask if you had any books on a particular subject.
We have all kinds of books on all kinds of particular subjects. Is there one specifically that you're looking for?
V rolls up Vera's sleeve to show the part of Vera's hand that's stained blue and says, "Do you have anything about this?"
You need a book on cleansing?
Yes, I do.
You wouldn't find one here, but I can direct you to where you would find one. What you need to do is go to the graveyard of unfinished spells. Essentially, these are spells that have been retired, died, never quite worked out. And if you go there, speak to the doorman, he'll be able to find the right solution for that.
Right. Thank
But it's
you
in the
so
other
much.
part of town. And with that, where does the party go from here? I'm curious to where. Are you going to start figuring out where to get outfits? Are you going to bring Kisura up to speed? Are you going to go your separate ways? Where do we go?
I would love somebody to catch me up to speed.
Well, where is Kasura?
Yeah. Kasura's out front, so we can.
She just came
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
I'd
okay.
be coming in. Yeah, I'd be coming in and looking around for my friends.
Soaked,
And,
but looks great.
I'm soaking wet.
Narla would be distributing the tickets to everyone, saying
Yep.
we've been approved to enter the ball at the Garden of Midnight.
Mhm.
Don't worry, it's at the Confederate of Cloisters tonight. You'll need an outfit and you'll need a date. And no, I will not go with you.
I look to Farrington.
I'm not sure. I'm not practiced, but I believe someone has forced themselves onto me as a date.
I literally do like the not bad, but like, hey, good for you. You know what? That's great. Look at you. You know, and then it dawns on me. I like, 1 second, and I rush outside to go find Graham.
Yeah, he's there, you know, as he's packing up, he's kind of walking down the street with his garden tools, you know, the rain bouncing off him majestically,
Guillaume.
keys dropping.
Guillaume.
Turns around.
Guillaume. Hey, what are you doing tonight?
Bathing. It's been a long day's
Sure.
work.
Yeah.
I'm going to
How
have
would
a
you like
bee
to go-
bubble bath.
How would you like to go to a ball with me? Have an extra ticket.
Kind of seems
It's
flustered.
exclusive.
Almost looks like tears are forming in his eyes. He kind of wipes, and it might just be sweat. And he's like, I need a change.
Yeah?
He kind of points to the
Oh, yeah.
soiled, dirty clothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Real your fanciest, that's what I say. Real
I have a smock. I wear it when I do my paintings.
love it. Love it. I'll bring my own.
We'll wear smocks together?
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
We'll make the dance a real smock hop, and then he immediately feels stupid for making that pun, and he's like, I should stop talking and just say yes.
Nah, I chuckle and say it. You know, have that adorable like
Do you want me to call for a cab to pick us up?
I would love that.
All right. There's a really good dumpling place.
Yeah.
It's not far
I-
from here.
I won't have time for dinner, but
No.
Let's
It's a third-party public place to be seen and picked up together. That way, I don't have to
Oh.
press upon you for where you live or anything like that.
Oh. Huh. Yeah. I like to I cock my head again. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Make
Of course.
a perception type roll on your pools. There's probably like an observation.
There's
or some-
perception is a
Okay.
thing. Sure.
It's a
How
difficulty
many-
of 3. So you roll a 10-sided die, and the die goes from 0 to 9. 0 is failure. If you have any skills in perception, it'll reduce the step. You can also spend Benny to from your pool to reduce the.
Okay. So my perception is 4, and then furthermore, I have persuasion, I add 3 Benny to my interaction pool.
Ooh. So, what you can do is
That's pretty good,
spend a point, a Benny from your perception pool to reduce it.
Yeah.
And this isn't really an interaction roll, although you could
Oh, okay.
you could say that it is if you'd
Yeah.
like. This is more. There's something you are sensing
Dumpling. About the dumpling place?
about him as an individual and
Got
the
it,
language
okay.
he's been using.
So is that so then because my perception is 4, I roll 40-10?
No, you roll 1d10,
1d10.
and you can spend 1 point from a pool that reduces it to 3, and then you have 3 out of 4 points left in your pool.
Heck, yeah, I'll do that. So I'll be at 3 out of 4.
Yeah. And if you want to roll multiple dice, you can
1.
spend a sortilege point.
Now I'll take the 1.
You got a 1?
Yep.
This is what you do know. He's starting to feel nervous about going anywhere with you at all. And while he seems genuinely interested into you, your art, and your music, as I'm out of focus.
Actuality.
Actuality. Despair.
Despair.
We miss you, Sharang.
Despair.
He's not being entirely forthright with his words. And there is reason why he doesn't want to know your address. But you're not too sure why.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to know because he wants to respect your privacy. He doesn't want to know for other reasons. That's about all you get out of that.
Okay. I know better than the prod right now, so I'm just happy. I'm just ecstatic that I get to go to this thing and I got a date.
He'll wear his finest smock.
Yeah, we're gonna be smock. We're gonna go together in smocks. It's gonna be great.
This is gonna be the smock hop. All right. With that, let's go ahead, and I'd like to know what each of the characters are going to do with the rest of their time. So the game kind of moves from action mode, moment to moment, to narrative mode, where we're doing slightly longer passages of time. Now, this you do know, the Garden of Midnight Ball is going to be 2 weeks from now. So there's going to be some time between when it actually happens. It won't actually be tonight. Which Guillaume's going to put on his finest smock, so will Kisura, and they're going to go down to where it would be and be like, well, let's look at some of the churches down here. Or not. They might just go get food instead and have a whole side scene together. But I'd like to know what each player's goals are. And so let's begin with Unresting Fire, then we'll do Narla, then Fantaclian, then Farrington, then Kisura.
Yeah, I'd like to head down to the graveyard of unfinished spells.
Okay, so when you go down there, they have the doorman has a sort of ointment where he can mask the pigmentation change, but he can't cure it. Then he has a second ointment that can actually cure it temporarily for periods of like 5 or 6 minutes at a time. Then when it comes back, it's a deeper and stronger blue than it was before. And he's like, he's willing to spend more time trying to find a better solution, but he says, look, there's a lot of wrecked spells here. It could take him a while to find something that works, but he recommends that you seek out more information from the campus of the Vance if you have access to there, or there's a Weaver cell known as the Order of Bryn in the neighborhood. He also makes a recommendation. He gives you a name, and you know the address that he gives you is same like condo complex that Kisura lives in. He goes, these individuals might be able to take care of your arm as well.
All right. Thank you for your time.
He goes, yeah, don't mention it. Now, Narla.
Narla. Okay, so So for this sort of like narrative downtime, if you will, is this the next 2 weeks or just the next few days or a day or what's fun?
So describe to me what you want to do between now and the actual Guarded of Midnight. And it
Okay,
may
yeah,
be
like
that
2 weeks.
your
Okay.
goals, yeah, so, and it may be that you launch a side scene and I'm going to have to send you like a Google Doc where I write out a narrative and you write me your
Who
response.
knows? I know you
Yeah,
need more work in your life, Grant, obviously. So
it's what I signed up for.
I'll try and deliver. I'll try and deliver.
Yeah.
Narla goes into like Narla goes into super spy mode. So it's all about like reconnoitering this place over the next 2 weeks, finding all the
Ooh.
exits, watching who
Yeah.
goes in and out, learning the names of the staff, learning the names of the vendors that like bring things here.
This is great.
Trying to find out more about who's going to this thing, finding a date because that's important too. Also thinking about what I'm going to wear. Those are the things that I'm very focused on.
So in order, how would you prioritize them between, are you waiting till the very end to find, and you're just ahead, you might even have to convince your body to be your date.
That's so funny that you said that because that was actually my second choice was my body would be my date. My first choice is to bring a potted rude plant from my neighborhood.
Oh my God.
Uproot it from the sidewalk and pot it and then bring it with me. Those were my ideas about my date.
Was the first one the potted plant?
Yeah, that's
yeah. You're gonna have one.
A potted plant doesn't want to go to a ball with me. I'm not gonna force it.
Yeah. Rudy Snap Whipper is the name of the potted plant. Rudy Snap.
Right. So I bring a potted plant with me as my date.
That is exactly what happens, and it's going to be the tentacle head with the potted plant, and he has a set of little wheels that you can set the pot on and kind of push forward.
No. I will be carrying my date. Don't you worry. I am a magic user. I am a Vizsla. I have the spells in my repertoire to make sure my date is very.
Can you check your mic cable? I think you got a little bit of loose connection. Maybe
your mic cable's loose.
How's that? Is that a little bit better?
No.
Your
microphone's doing something weird. Your mic has despair.
Despair!
Oh no.
Well, I think you guys know what I want to do.
Yep, we got that. So, Fantaclian.
Yes.
So, as we move out of the moment-to-moment scene, what are some things that Fantaclian will do to prepare for the ball that don't involve Sorcia Thorn?
Don't involve Sorcia Thorn. So, I think they would have double-checked on the actual dress code style. Like the kind of
a little bit of research about maybe balls that have been held past. Maybe you can find someone who's been invited to the secret society before. Babylon might have been invited, and that might be a side scene that you can shoot her some questions, and we can. Hey, what did you wear when you were invited? Oh, I didn't go, but here is my outfit.
Here's all my outfits. Probably that, and then probably I would have. I saw in my house I have earnings, and I think I earn like 30 orbs
every week. Yeah,
every week. Yes, I think I'm just gonna be working on some like side projects to earn some extra money to like buy these clothes. And that's that. And then that's
mechanical question. Mechanical question. The income listed for our house, is that monthly or weekly?
Weekly, I believe. Yeah, so if you're rich, right? So, and it's normal in the game to say, okay, 3 weeks pass, and then you have a stack of money so you can actually spend it on things in the game. And spending things in the game is actually also mechanically important. Decorating your house, making sure that you visit changeries and make yourself look the way you want. Buying spells, buying objects of power. Money, the game actually has a pretty thriving economy. And so we've established what Fantaclian will be doing, working to get a little extra money to make sure he's on brand for the event. So it's going to be great. Kasora shows up in a smock with his gardener. Fantaclian's like...
Decked out.
Either he's totally decked out or he got like the last century's handbook and he shows up completely out of fashion. There's going to be a role involved, I'm sure.
Day, by the way. But yeah, they're going to be decked out.
Day, yes, all right.
Super, super hardcore.
And Farrington, how do you spend a bit of preparation for the ball? It's 2 weeks away.
The two major things Farrington wants to do, number one is put together a detailed list of readings that he expects his date to familiarize themselves with in order to facilitate small talk. Like, he doesn't...
syllabus?
Yes,
Yeah.
This is your summer reading.
Yeah, it's going to be like... It's not even the full Canterbury Tales, but
You
it
see, the
is
thing
in
is-
the original Middle
I want you
English.
to write a paper on the Industrial Revolution or an equally broad subject, 12 pages.
Yeah. And this is just Farrington communicating what they are interested in talking about. The expectation is that his date is going to bring their own syllabus of small talk. So, and really, really pressing, like, definitely brush up on your Middle English, because I am fluent and I don't intend to read Canterbury Tales to you in any other language. That's the first thing. That's like the first week. The second thing is Farrington does not like shopping, does not like to go out and socialize on things that they find exhausting or petty. So they are going to hire a tailor to come to them and outfit them for the thing. And I'm going to drop 150 orbs on that.
Got it.
And the idea isn't that that Farrington wants to...
Is that
play
just
to-
on the clothes or for the consulting to make sure that you are dressed correctly? Because a fashionista services might be required.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Farrington has no interest in, like, adopting the expected fashion of the party that we're going to. Farrington wants to have the most expensive and nice version of what Farrington likes to wear.
So their mother is great. Ma, make me a prince.
So yeah, but yeah, Farrington is going to do their own style, but in high quality, like really expensive.
Yeah.
Even if the style doesn't fit in.
I get that.
Yeah.
That. I feel it. It's the way I like to go to a formal occasion. A D&D shirt, but with sequins.
Yeah.
Bedazzled. There.
Yeah.
And Kasura, how do you spend the time? So, the gardener was totally expecting to smock out with you that night and cut a rug. How do the next 2 weeks go, though?
I apologize for getting the date wrong by writing a song.
Aww. So, Kasura. And with that, we reach the end of the session. And what we do now is we do what's called a character summary. We're going to talk about how our character changed from the beginning of the session to the end, with an emphasis on how it's related to our character arcs that we selected for ourselves, to see if any of our actions during the course of the adventure related to those or not. There's also a couple extra points. For example, Narla gets an acumen for finding and dealing with Chanson. Fantaclian gets an acumen. So does Farrington and Kasura for finding a date to go to the Garden of Midnight ball with them. And now we talk about the character arc itself. So in the PDF and the source book, the print book, there is Your character arc's listed out. You should be at a certain step on it based on other sessions you played. For example, pro restarters played in other sessions with this character and may have a couple more advances on the step. If this is your first session, more likely than not, you're going to reach the first step and get acumen for that. So let's go in reverse order. We'll go Kasura, Farrington, Fantaclian, Narla, then Unresting Fire.
Mm-hmm. So I describe, would you consider this developing a bond?
With an individual, the gardener, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. So I have two things. And is this where the Path to Joy comes into play as well?
Could, yes. You might get joy, and you might also get acumen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I established a new bond, as well as I witnessed someone turn something ugly into something beautiful, which is the gardening.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you definitely get a Path of Joy for that.
Yeah. I was hoping they find more beauty in creation, but you describe them as they don't necessarily do that. But that's cool.
And the next one, so developing the bond. You have opened that if your bond's with Guillaume the gardener, you're beginning to learn about them. They're a fan of your band and your music. You know they are a gardener for the library of collection of the Burning Principality. And you are forming a connection and a bond with that character. So you advance a step, and then as it goes, next you will begin to strengthen that bond with them. Most likely through... you also get the second acumen. You've done the initial attempt, so you're starting. So the next step for you is to build a relationship with this individual, for good or bad.
Okay.
All right. And Farrington.
So Farrington did not do anything this session relating that strongly to their character arc, which is solve a mystery, specifically where did my mentor and former lover go. I did send out the Vizsla version of a reply all about it, though. I think anyone who is on the Discord got a letter from Farrington saying, I'm looking for information, please let me know if you find anything. I think that qualifies for pledging to solve the mystery.
Yeah, outside of this session, so let's go ahead and give you a point of acumen for that. Okay. Even and here's the thing, you've had your first session, and I know you've had a lot of sort of preconceived building of the character, but now this session can be the first time that you state, even if it's just at the end of this summary, where you can use the storyline to begin searching.
Yeah.
So even just stating to start, you normally get that first step accomplished.
Okay, so, I think Farrington is going to realize and probably verbalize at various points to the rest of you that they are looking for Merlin, my mentor, my former lover, the person who technically owns half of the tower, and I can't find their rooms anymore, but I know they're there. They disappeared, and I want and need to find them for closure. That Farrington definitely is going to make that pledge.
And Fantaclian.
So I'm not really sure. I definitely want to have a connection with the Fire Woman. Her. Well, I don't think I did anything that gives me joy. It's looking on the list that I have. And I don't think I did anything that really builds my transformation arc yet.
Not yet, and it may be one of those things where you don't get a lot of points, so you can just talk about how your character may have evolved as a person over the course of the adventure as well.
Yeah, I think I think they. I'm not too sure, really. I think they are going to enjoy bringing out a lighter and more flamboyant side of Farrington. And that's going to be something that they probably are going to be working for.
How about the Panther guys that are hunting after you?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into that as well. I'm probably going to send a message to Babylon about that. I do have their card still. So yeah, I'm going to be looking into that as well.
Good deal, and that might be worth investigating during the 2 weeks leading up to it as well. Yeah. Possibly even checking in with your Weaver cell. And Narla.
Narla is an odd character, in case you guys hadn't caught wind of that.
Narla, the squid head didn't give it away.
Narla's character arc is sort of grimdark, I guess, to some degree. Vengeance, if you will, or avenging is Narla's character arc. Narla also has an internal motivation of struggling against something. So that's sort of the twin engines that sort of drive Narla. This is very much rooted in the past, struggling against the present to create a better future, or at least bring balance to something that is out of balance from the past. I think Narla is definitely sort of, while they not necessarily struggled against anyone or you know.
Here's my question though.
Yeah.
Who are you attempting to avenge?
Yeah, and I think that is sort of yet to be sort of detailed. I think that there's something that happened during the war that Narla can't let go of, and they are rooted there for some reason. I'm interested to explore that with this story that we are weaving together. What sort of wounded them to such a degree? That being said, during the session, great session, definitely felt like there were some connections made, specifically with Delacroix, who I think Narla would see almost as an informant, like when trying to learn more about the Garden of Midnight and the party that will be taking place. I think Delacroix becomes someone that Narla visits more, especially since they both are sort of oddly shaped creatures, a trench coat full of cats and a squid head. So there's just sort of that sort of oddness about them as well. However, I don't know. Does it count that I would have asked good old Rudy Snapwither out on a date? I don't know. I didn't really do that in game, but that's the date.
No, it happened in game. It happened in narrative mode as opposed to moment to moment. So there's some scenes that we played through a little faster in the interest of time, as well as Rudy wasn't going to say no. They have it in them to give a piece of their mind to everyone at that so-called Garden of Midnight.
Well, that's the whole plan, is Narla wants Rudy to be like a distraction, basically.
Yeah. And so as far as like the XP acumen joy despair goes, as soon as you figure out at any point and name what it is you're avenging, you get that first point of acumen. And it might be at the start of next session, or it might be in between. You will get that point of acumen, and then as we progress down the steps of that arc, you're going to get other points of acumen for advancing the narrative, and you can get more than one in a session. Let's check in with Unresting Fire, played by Elle. So, Elle, how has Unresting Fire grown as a character over the course of the session?
Well, V has some more leads on the whole cleanse arc. V is starting to get a little bit frustrated with the lack of good options, much like I am in my real life.
I know that life.
He's definitely like interested in the ball, but hasn't actually found a date yet. So that's
Take a point of despair.
Oh,
For
despair.
despair for all the solutions being bad solutions. And something to think about too, since your character is actually in another narrative, it may be that you decide, I'm not going to go to the ball. I'm going to send Sharong in my place. You know,
I can give my
Ratch.
invitation to Mr.
Badger?
Badger.
Yes, here, dispose of this. I'll go hand it to someone else. Mr. Badger's like my favorite NPC in the game. He's just a massive badger that goes around handing out trash to people, being like, here you go, gotta redistribute the wealth. And then he'll just come up out of the ground in the middle of your home. And
I love it.
Pillar
I
of the-
love it.
Make sure everyone gets the trash wealth they serve.
he's so great.
Is that better than Chanson, though? Is that better? There's the debate.
They
I'm on
both-
Team- Hashtag Team Chanson.
They both came from these nonsensical, off the table players.
Yeah, they both came from Neon Life. Like, this is all our fault.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Running 4 narratives is there's a lot of material to draw upon to flesh out the world.
We love you, Neon Life. Come on, we love it.
Great.
And let's go ahead and move from here to our outros. Since the session has completed, it is now 6 p.m. These are 2-hour sessions. That's when it's like, but Grant, we started at 5. Oh no, yeah. So I'm gonna throw it back to our official host, Eric, to sort of kick off the outros. Eric's the official host. Is his channel.
Oh yeah, it is my house. Hi everybody, I'm Eric. I'm Eric Vulgaris everywhere. I work for Roll20 and I play a lot of games. Every Sunday I update my schedule on the Twitch events page with all the games that I'm planned on playing and all that kind of stuff. And if you're feeling particularly saucy and want to hear about all the games I'm playing, consider supporting me on Patreon, where I do a weekly wrap up and do everything about those games. But if you have a better choice, I know another Patreon that someone else wants to talk about.
And Pro.
Hey, yeah, thank you for having me. Love playing with everyone. Super awesome group, awesomely run by you, Eric, and Grant. And I want to thank you, Eric, for having me again. Super great. Great to play with everyone. I am ProRestarter. Catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ProRestarter. I am an aspiring content creator and streamer. Do lots of RPG stuff across the board with lots of great people. To find out when I'm streaming, who I'm streaming with, and if I have to reschedule, that's at ProRestarter on Twitter. Thank you for having me again. I love playing Fantacular.
They are a lot of fun. And Ken.
Awesome. Well, everybody, this has been an experience. Thank you so much, Grant, for running a great game. Thank you, Eric, for having us on your channel. And thanks to everybody who tuned in. This has been awesome. I'm Ken at Burling's Beard. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I am a for-hire dungeon master in the New York City area. I'm also an independent D&D content creator. I'm working on a product right now called the Adventure Mixtape with 3 other creators, including Sharong, who isn't here right now, unfortunately. But that'll be out in the next few weeks. It's 4 one-shot D&D adventures. And each of the adventures, we've had songs written for them. So each comes with a song as well you can play during your game. So keep an eye out for that and for lots more. My podcast as well, Board Ghost, where we play diceless, DM-less role-playing games. And again, I'm so happy to be here. Can't wait to play more Narla and more Invisible Sun as the weeks roll on.
And L.
Hi, I'm Elle. You can find me on Twitter at OccasionalL. I am running Dungeon World weekly, 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/harpydora. We just finished our first arc, so we have 2 new players. I'm also running a game for Welcome to the Party's fundraiser for the Trevor Project. I'm running that I'm running Paranoia Friday, 4 to 8 p.m. And then anything else that I'm in is going to be on my Twitter.
And Mr. Colin.
I am Colin Volcanet. I am one half of the Phantom Roll Booth. We have our own channel. We play games on it. I believe Marcy is running the Phantom Roll Booth Arcade tomorrow morning, which is an unusual time slot, but you should definitely tune in. It's going to have hags, I believe, and it's going to be fun.
Hag life?
Yeah. I'll probably be in the chat if I'm awake, but I'm not a morning person. So I do Phantom Roll Booth. We do 5th edition one-shots with new people. We love new people. If you've never played with us, please get in contact with us. We want you on the show, and we want your face on the stream. Otherwise, I got a bunch of other stuff. You can find me at Colin Like I See, and that's usually where I keep people updated on what I'm doing.
And as for me, my name is Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games with an emphasis on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I'm currently co-authoring 3 different books that will be released on Kickstarter. The ones I can talk about are the TPK Handbook Volume 2 and the TPK Bestiary, where I'm designing monsters and encounters to completely challenge the party. I think you guys are going to find I'm really, really weird when I write encounters. No spoilers, except the Discord. But I'm running 4 concurrent Invisible Sun narratives, this show being one. They are all financed through my Patreon, patreon.com/GrantREllis, which is used to pay for production, players' time, and art costs. You can find me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant, on Twitch at GrantREllis. I'm on all the shows. I am a producer for WebDM's Twitch channel, where we stream Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And that's all I have. So until next time, keep it weird and keep it wonderful, friends. Goodbye.
Bye.